What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, a year or two ago, I stumbled across some Amazon reviews of Sugarless gummy bears, and I tried to read those reviews without laughing, and I didn't make it very far. But since then, I have matured, I have grown up, I don't fall for bathroom humor. I don't even find it remotely funny or entertaining. In fact, I find it childish, immature, and disgusting, quite frankly. And so I thought I would give a shot here at just reading those reviews again, not necessarily the same ones. I actually don't think it's the same company. I found that Haribo gummy bears that I love also makes a sugar-free classic gummy bear, 1 pound bag here. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to enjoy them during eating and sounds like afterwards as well. And I'm just going to read through these reviews and I am going to make you a promise, a guarantee that I am not going to laugh at any of these because I'm, like I said, I find bathroom humor humorless, right? So let's give it a shot here. Dexter says, my friend hasn't been practicing social distancing during the pandemic, so I bought him a bag of these gummies for his birthday. It's now been 10 days since he left the house out of fear of pooping himself again. I'm not going to say Haribo sugar-free classic gummy bears are the cure for the coronavirus, but it certainly helps slow down the spread. There it is. Nicole says, one of our beloved physicians brought a bag of gummy bears to work to share with the staff one night shift. Not realizing they were the famous, dreaded sugar-free gummies, multiple staff throughout the shift grabbed a handful of gummies while passing by and each have their own near-miss stories, but this is mine. This is a long review. The next morning, I have to run an errand about an hour and a half from my house. On the drive home, down a curvy back road, my stomach suddenly begins to cramp, and I feel the immediate urge to empty my bowels. Frantic, as I realize I'm not going to make it home, I start searching for a place to pull over. The end of a gated logging road, perhaps? I'm speeding along, arching my back, practicing Lamaze breathing techniques. Anything to stall the inevitable. I pass the first turnoff that has a sheriff's car parked at the end and keep searching with sweat pouring down my forehead and bubbling noises in my guts that drown out the heavy metal on the stereo. If it tickle my throat, that's all. Finally, I spot the end of a brushy trail and whip my truck sideways, thrusting the driver's side door open and leaping from the seat to scurry around to the other side. I turn around with fingers in a waistband, about to drop trowel, and look up to my horror, realizing it is indeed the end of a driveway, and the folks outside are staring down toward me, probably wondering what this crazed individual is about to do. For several moments, I seriously considered just completing the task and running away, but couldn't imagine my parents seeing the cell phone video of myself on social media later in the day. I scurried back around the truck, and halfway there, my ability to hold back the hot lava flow of liquid stool from making a hasty exit out of my spasming rectum was lost, and I crapped my pants right there on the side of the road standing next to my truck. My bowels cramped up and expelled every drop of liquid from my body. At that point, I'm now standing there with leggings full of hot liquid stool running into my shoes and debating on what the next best course of action should be. Of course, I have no extra clothes or any towels in my truck. What do? Do I call someone? Do I drive home the remaining 20 minutes? After a few moments of self-reflection, I decided to strip off my shorts, lay them on the seat of my truck, and get inside. It was rather uncomfortable to drive home with the windows all the way down and skin burning on the backs of my legs and buttocks. It was one of the longest 20-minute periods of time I've ever experienced in my life. I alternated between crying and laughing at the situation and checking the speedometer like a paranoid drunk, thinking I can't possibly get pulled over right now because what would I say? Yes, officer, I crap my pants. That's what that smell is. Tears streaming down my face, I finally arrive home, screeching to a halt in the driveway in front of an open automatic garage door I triggered as I was drifting the curve onto my road. Holding the bottoms of my pants legs closed, I awkwardly stagger into my house and immediately into the shower fully clothed. Fast forward 3 weeks, and I'm at work hearing about the other incidents, and the light bulb clicks on. 35 years old, and I had to reset the clock for the how long since you last crapped your pants countdown. Thanks, Dr. Hansen. Lesson learned, make sure the gummy bears are not the sugar-free version. So there it is. A clinical analysis of the gummy bears. Derek says, my flight was leaving at 8 a.m. in the morning. After awakening and trying to get to the airport, I forgot to grab something to eat. I usually take my time and do things in order, but not this day. I was traveling from Boston to LA, coming home from a work trip. I do it regularly, so nothing was new to me. I stayed in the same hotel and knew the time I needed to leave to get to the airport on time. During my work trip, I stopped at the convenience store and saw these gummy bears, and I thought they'd be a perfect gift for my son Charlie. He loves gummy bears and gummy worms, so that morning I was headed back to LA. I slept through my alarm. That never happens. I rushed to get out of the hotel and threw those gummies in my carry-on bag to make it on time to the airport. After speeding and filling up gas in the rental, I made it to my gate as they were boarding. I get on the airplane and head down the aisle to find my window seat near the middle of the plane. I asked politely for two adorable older ladies sitting in the middle and aisle seats if I could pass by to get to my seat. They obliged. The lady in the middle must have been around 80 years old, so it took her some time to get up and make sure she was holding on to something so she didn't fall as she stepped into the aisle. I thanked them as I sat and settled into my seat. Fast forward 20 minutes as we reached our cruising altitude of around 30,000 feet in the air. As I reach into my carry-on bag to grab my headphones, I see the gummy bears. Since I'm hungry and need something, I decided to open them up and just have a few to hold me over until we land. I wanted to save some for my son, so maybe I had 4 or 5. But I had 4 or 5 too many because once the bears had a few minutes to adjust to their new home, they began to work. It started out with a little cramp, which is normal with gassing on a plane. You do not want to fart on a plane, so you hold it in. It is airplane etiquette. It would come and go over a few minutes, so I thought nothing of it. Then it got worse. The cramps intensified, the sweating started, and I began to notice the older ladies looking over at me. About 30 minutes into eating these bears, my thinking went from, oh, these are just farts, I can hold them, to, oh dear God, not here. I've been a Christian my whole life, and this is the test. If there is a God, please help me leave this plane with my dignity intact. After waiting for the intense cramp wave to pass, I stood up and jumped over those 2 women. I could not wait for them to stand, so I stood up, my back facing them, and tried to shimmy past them. I think a toot came out because I heard one say, "Oh Lord, was that you?" After reaching the aisle, I waddled back to the back of the plane where the least amount of risk would be. To my dismay, it was in use. That left one bathroom left in the front. I looked down the aisle and saw my Mount Everest. I had to somehow keep my wet cheeks tighter than Fort Knox whilst wading forward, whilst praying no one gets out of their seats. After 5 minutes of stop and go, I made it to the bathroom and was pulling my pants down as I entered the bathroom. The door was still unlocked. As the sweet release was underway, I thought I died. I thought this was it. Even though I was on the throne confessing my sins, I thought my time was called. I lost count of how many times there were knocks at the door. I must have been in there for 45 minutes, but I made it. I washed my hands and threw water on my face to calm me down. Opening the door, I saw the faces looking back at me. Apparently, the seal to the bathroom was not airtight, letting just the slightest airflow from that bathroom into the main cabin possible. These were daughters, mothers, and children looking at me. I could feel their questions and comments. What have you done? We still have 2 hours left. Please divert this plane. As I began walking down, the man in the first row of first class grabbed my arm. He said, "Hey man, where's your seat?" Confused, I told him, and he said, "Go get your stuff and come back and sit here. You need this more than me." I was embarrassed and ashamed. I had a family at home waiting for me. I recommend these bears to anyone, but please eat them responsibly. Sebastian says, very succinctly, I weighed 189 pounds before I ate these. I am now a skeleton. Fair. Booberry says, I thought the things people said about sugar-free gummies were exaggerated. What a fool I was. I write this in the hopes that future generations will break the cycle and never have to live through what happened to me in the harrowing hours that were to come. That night, I lay awake in bed, sweating, farting profusely, and unable to sleep because I had to run to the bathroom every few minutes. The stench was incomparable to anything I'd ever smelled before. It was like being anally violated in reverse. To pass the time, I read the article about Hiroshima and Nagasaki on Wikipedia. Perhaps I felt a kinship with the victims of these attacks because it was like a nuclear bomb had gone off in my bowels. If regular diarrhea is fat man and little boy, the effect of these villainous bears on my anus was Sarbamba. At one point, I recalled Marlon Brando's monologue from Apocalypse Now, and suddenly I understood everything. If I saw my worst enemy approaching a bowl of these, I would dive in front of it to save them from the horror of what I experienced on that black day. Woe betide to anyone who fails to heed my warnings. Very helpful. Very helpful. Sela says, this was the day my life changed. I bought a bag of these delicious Satan snacks, and they took me back to the past. It took me back to the day Pompeii erupted. Instead of lava, there was hot brown liquid feces exploding out of what could be the black pit of hell. I was sitting on my toilet, sweaty AF. It felt like I was in a sauna after drinking veggie-free kombucha while being punched in the gut by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The worst part was I didn't have any toilet paper. I questioned myself if I should use the dog to wipe the sweaty crack of hell. But I'd rather shoot him before I put him through hell like that. All in all, 10 out of 10 would make a great gift. Very generous of you. Nicole says, I ate half of a 6-ounce bag I picked up at CVS. They changed the color of the bag. I didn't know. I spent 24 hours in the fetal position on my bathroom floor repeating, please God, why? I still don't have the answer. Gary says, did you hear that sonic boom? Yeah, that was me after 3 of these. Okay, guys. Clearly, I did pretty well on this. No problems, because I find this stuff childish and unamusing. There it is. I'm a rock. See you later.